So nice to see you all. Thank you so much for making the time for this, and welcome to this panel on the future of high-end digital collectibles. My name is Nick Blunden. I'm the president of the Business of Fashion, and I'm also the moderator for this session, as you can probably see. And I'm delighted to be joined on the stage by four absolute experts in the space that we're going to talk about. But before I ask our experts to introduce themselves, I just want to take a moment to give you a little bit of context of why I think this conversation about luxury and innovation is so important. So over the last several months, on the pages of the Business of Fashion, we have written a lot about the global luxury slowdown. As some of you may know, the luxury industry is going through something of a slowdown. Doesn't happen very often, hasn't happened that recently, but is going through one now. And if I was to synthesize the 3 points that are driving that slowdown in all the coverage that we've written, they would be the following. First, the luxury industry faces some macroeconomic headwinds, in particular in China, which has been a driver of luxury growth or growth in the luxury market over the last 10 years. Second is low consumer confidence, particularly here in Europe, where a few years of inflation have resulted in consumers feeling under a great deal of pressure. And the third is almost industry-wide steep price rises for luxury goods, which has meant that discretionary spend amongst aspirational luxury consumers has been put under pressure, and they've been trading down. And even high net worth individuals and ultra high net worth individuals who can still afford luxury at those prices have begun to question the value proposition for luxury. Clearly, there's no panacea for addressing these changes. Indeed, a lot of them are outside of the control of the luxury industry, but I think it's also clear that the luxury industry needs to refocus on innovation and creativity to re-engage luxury consumers who arguably have become a little bit disillusioned with the luxury dream. And my view is that at the heart of this need to refocus on creativity and innovation is this opportunity around digital collectibles in particular, and Web3 more broadly. So this is a very topical discussion. And before we jump into the details of it, I'd like to ask each of the brilliant panelists up here just to say a few words of introduction, who you are and where you come from. Samir, let's start with you.
It's Riad. We changed, sorry. Yes, I'm Riad. I'm in charge of ecosystem for Absolute Labs. Absolute Labs, what we do is we are a Web3 CRM marketing platform, and we work with several luxury brands on things ranging from insight on digital collectibles to loyalty, and especially right now, I think the main focus of brand is commerce, is how to generate additional revenue by understanding this audience of crypto native and how to address them and make them pilot in some of their crypto investment towards spending it towards the luxury goods.
Great, thank you so much. Romain?
So I'm the CEO of Aura, and we create digital identities for luxury brands. We're consortium-based. That means that we were created initially by LVMH, Prada, OTB, and Richemont, but today we are more than 50 brands. We have more than 50 million products. We are the industry leader, regrouping the majority of the luxury. Our main objective is to create a standard for the whole of the luxury industry, which will allow to create digital product passports that will give first certain benefits for the customer in terms of customer experience, but also comply to certain regulation that will happen with the EU regulation that I'm sure I'm going to talk about.
Oh, we'll definitely talk about that. Thank you, Romain. Pedro, over to you.
Yes. Good afternoon, Pedro Lopez-Belmonte. I'm a Web3 and technology innovation expert. I've been leading the blockchain strategy for Richemont Group for the past 7 years, and we have explored a lot of things using blockchain for IP, for digital passports. We have been pioneers for loyalty and customer engagement.
Thank you, Pedro. Franck, over to you.
Hello, I'm Franck Garnier. I'm head of digital innovation at Hublot. I love exploring emerging technologies such as Web3 to drive business solutions through explorations and scaling them.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to start. I have individual questions for each of you, as you know, but I want to start with a more general question, because this is the third year that I have been at NFT Paris. I'm very glad I got invited back. And it seems to me that over the evolution of this conference, we've kind of gone past the stage, particularly when it relates to NFTs, Web3 and luxury, the hype phase. Certainly 2 years ago, 3 years ago when I first came, there was a lot of hype. We've gone past that phase. And I'd like to hear from each of you where you think we are in the evolution of this market. Are we still at the beginning, or have we reached some degree of maturity? So Riad, let's start with you. Where do you think we are?
Yeah, I think we have matured from the brand emitting token for the good of emitting token to we just starting the alignment with the rest of the business. Because when you look some of these brands, they have been launching like token, and when you talk to some people within the organization, they say, we don't know what this thing is, we don't know what it's used for. And more, we are also with our platform, we are enabling this brand to align with business, like generating revenue by leveraging this existing token and by bringing commerce through Web3 into these brands.
Thank you so much. Romain, what about you?
No, I think I would agree, because the market has evolved for sure, but we are very, very far from where we need to go. We've made the experience much more simpler, because before we were talking about Web3 and with wallets, it was so complicated for people to use wallet. From our end and with the vision we have is to make everything more seamless. So, and also to access the digital passports so that the users can access the digital passport and that is accessible for 100% of the people, and then for the people to have a specialized experience for the Web3 addicts, and that they want to have this Web3 experience, we can provide them. It's an added level of experience, but we need to make things much more seamless for the users.
So there's still some way to go on that journey of making things absolutely seamless, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. Like, for example, when we talk about Web3 wallet, not everybody is able to do that today. So then there is some drawback that you might have. So if you make Web3 wallet available in, for example, on your mobile app, that could impact also the Web3 engagement. So that's a counterpart that you have to do this. Do you want your Web3 assets on a wallet that is a bit less decentralized, or do you want your asset on your ledger, for example, and be in total control of your assets? Those are the types of questions that you need to answer, and that the market will do and will evolve, and it will in the end be the customer who will choose. Some customer will choose full decentralization, and others will choose the easier way to do it.
Pedro, does that resonate with you in terms of where we are?
Yes, I have mixed feelings or
I like
different
mixed
perspectives.
feelings. Let's explore those.
Yes, so I think on one side the market has matured and we have more maturity. In the previous panel, we were listening to Amir from Mondoir mentioning that in 2021, people were taking a picture of their physical art, whatever that was, and voila, you have an NFT right there, right? And so this is not anymore like that. From that perspective, you know, especially on NFT applied to collectibles and digital art, I think the scenario is more mature, and in general, not only about that, we have more clarity, right? I agree also with Romain about the technological part, the infrastructure. I think the wallets needs to evolve a lot. I'm really curious to see about the smart accounts impact on that, because I think they tackle the user experience, which is the most important point of friction, in my opinion, in terms of adoption. And then there is, on the other side, I think it's still early, and the proof is that NFTs are not mainstream, and I think there is a component of generational shift, right? I think the wealth in general is still in the hands of boomers, Gen X's, and early millennials, and I think once we move a few years down the road, this will pass, the great wealth transfer, this will pass on to the Gen Zs and Gen Alphas, and they are really native, not only on digital, but on these elements, on the digital assets, on the virtual goods. They are really native, and I believe they don't differentiate in their minds between digital goods or digital assets and physical ones. And I think that's going to really boost the market.
I'm going to come back to you on the generational shift because I think that's really interesting. But just to conclude with this part, Franck, from your perspective, where are we on kind of the adoption curve?
I think we are on the beginning of new beginnings. Thinking about something which is beyond just an NFT, something which embraces broader approach, such as the digital product passport, combining with communities and elevated user experience. And at Hublot, I think digital collectibles is very tied to the physical product. And we can see now the product as the gateway access, or even a private key, or a front door to the Hublot universe, to exclusive events, to exclusive services. Yeah.
I like that idea of the beginning of new beginnings. I think there's a T-shirt in the offering with that on. But now I'd like to move on. Romain, we were talking earlier, and you were featured in the Business of Fashion yesterday, and one of the articles quoted you as saying that Aura has created more than 50 million digital identities for some 50 different brands. So I'm interested because clearly this market is in part being driven by digital product passports. So I'd be interested to hear from you, what's driving this growth? That's extraordinary growth. We talk about a market that's relatively early, but those are big numbers. So what in particular is driving the growth of DPPs, and why is that, in your view, so important to this wider market?
So first, those are big numbers, but it's only the beginning. Those 50 million products are to prepare for the regulation, but also to provide something much more important, and that's the customer experience, the value added that you provide to the customer. The regulation is here for the base, but it has to be seen as an opportunity and not just to solve the regulation part, because otherwise you won't have the customer engagement that you need to have with your customer. Otherwise, you won't have the traction with your digital product passport if you just provide some basic information. This is why we are using the blockchain, so that you have the full transparency on the upstream information about the product, where the product is coming from. So, for example, L'Europiana is showing where the cashmere, what region it's coming from, because depending on the region, this shows that they are selecting the best region for the best cashmere. So that's important to show to the customer. It's part of the storytelling. And also, many brands are not doing it just for the regulation. So, for example, if you look at RIMOWA, all the suitcases, and we talked about this, all the suitcases have a chip inside it. You can connect to the suitcase and have your certificate that allows you to have lifetime warranty for your suitcase. This adds value to the digital passport, and this is where we need to go. And using NFTs also can elevate that customer experience. So on several of our brands, so for example with Lalique or with Studs, we have the traceability information on the blockchain, but then we also provide those brands and they provide to their customer an NFT experience where they can get that NFT. And this adds value for that.
And so within the consortium, the brands that you're working with, are they coming to you with regulation front of mind and you're saying, look, there's more you can do with this? Or is there already, people are joining the consortium and saying, yes, I know I need to do this from a regulatory perspective, but there's so much more I can do? How's that working?
Good question. I think I have the three cases. First, a brand comes to me and say, we need to be ready for the regulation. Then we have also cases where the brand says, I want to do something more for my customer. I want to have better experience, better loyalty system. For example, we did one recently with Louis XIII, a really good loyalty system on the blockchain, and it's a beautiful use case on loyalty. And then we have also the third case where a brand says, okay, we need to do the regulation, we know that, please help us with that, but we also want to have something more. The last case is the most we see, because brands are seeing that they need to provide something more, and also we are developing, launching several projects, so brands are seeing what the others are doing, and they're saying, okay, we need to do it as well. And the KPIs that we're getting are also very interesting from a customer's point of view. So.
That's so interesting, and I really like this idea that the regulation is a catalyst, but we've got to create value for the end customer. And Franck, I want to come to you, because critics of this space would say the technology is amazing, but there aren't enough examples of creating value for consumers. But at Hublot, you've done some really interesting work in this space with NFTs in particular. So can you tell us a little bit more about what you've been doing at Hublot, and what you've seen in terms of the response to that from your customers?
Yes. First, at Hublot, we embrace these digital collectible spaces as an opportunity to innovate and do explorations. And today, I want to share my story. In 2021, we decided to create our second NFT collection, but we want to make it very impactful. Hopefully, we had this huge partnership with a famous Japanese artist, which is called Takashi Murakami. So we decided, okay, let's create a digital art inspired by the physical product, and let's give and gift this NFT to the client. Afterwards, we have a very good technology to authenticate our product. We are able to authenticate this product by scanning the product just by a mobile phone. So let's leverage this technology, and let's just ask the customer to scan their watch and claim their NFT. Afterwards, we see that some of them are not claimed, so we decided to create a lucky draw to both our exclusive members club and also for the public. After that, we see a small growth in trading on the secondary markets, such as OpenSea, but we think that we need to bring value on this community. They are expecting some value on this NFT. So that's why we decided to create a token-gated e-commerce about 13 exclusive and unique timepieces, always related to Takashi Murakami. It was a very great success for the customer, but we want more. We want to be very impactful. So at the end of the story, we sold the last and unique timepieces in auction, and we give all the money to a charity, which is called Fondation. So I think this story is very an exploration, but also with big impact. And one thing also to say, it's a learning. It's when you bring some value to something, you can see that people who have no prior knowledge to Web3 can use MetaMask, can use Wallet Connect, can use OpenSea. And at the end, I think Hublot, for the future, will need to focus more about the digital passport and elevate this customer experience.
Thank you so much. Pedro, I wanted to come over to you because you mentioned this generational shift, which I think is really interesting, and it's something that people in the luxury industry are very conscious of. You've worked with a number of businesses, a number of brands in the space, including Richemont and others, but I'd be interested to know, in sort of when we think about what the value is and what the role of digital collectibles are, do you see that there is a particular role here for building community around luxury brands and for creating new ways of building engagement specifically with luxury products when one thinks about this next generation?
Absolutely. I think this tool is actually for them. Traditionally, the luxury is very focused on the traditional brand aspect, who gravitates around the product. This has started evolving in the past years towards experience. I think NFTs can be the maximum exponent of experience, right? NFTs, whatever they are digital tools that you can use to implement functionality, to build functionality on top of that, right? And functionality that speaks to a community, but to an individual as well, as both member of the community, but individual, right? Imagine an NFT that, for example, is able to customize its appearance based on the tastes of an individual. But at the same time, it's part of a collection, and that individual can speak with the others, and it enables nice functionality. It can be even traded, so it can, acquire some tangible value in the markets. I think we will see that in the younger generations, because it's ingrained in their mindset. They are native to that, and I think actually you were mentioning before the article yesterday. I love the title. Are digital passports being used? I loved it. It was like a hook for me. I went straight to it because on one side, I think everyone in the ecosystem sees the value. And a good example is what Franck has told, the things that Aura is doing with their brands. And when you explain it to customers, they understand the value, and they really value the digital version of the certificate of authenticity. At the end of the day, is that, right? But at the same time, it happens, if you don't build functionality, it happens the same as with the paper-based certificate of authenticity. You might use it once or twice in the product lifetime, and that's it. So you need to generate incentives for people to go to the passport, to use it more, to engage with it. I think it's the perfect tool to deliver personalized content, to deliver, for example, exclusive content associated to your product, or associated to your product and to yourself. And while digitally that has been a challenge, whoever has worked in digital for a few years, if you figure that in a few seconds, you'll say, okay, that's a huge challenge. Now with AI, the challenge is much less, and the cost of that and the effort is going to decrease dramatically. So we are converging in a moment where all these technologies put together are going to change the landscape of the industry.
And I think that's really interesting. And Riad, I want to come to you, because at Absolute Labs, you have a unique vantage point on this industry, I think, or this space in the industry, because you offer so many different solutions. And the sort of consensus, I think, when we started, my introductory question is, we're some way on this journey, but there's still some way to go. So what is required in your view? What needs to change for the luxury industry to really embrace the full potential of this technology?
What we've seen indeed within our platform and with a couple of brands, most of them are a blockchain member, is that we used to have a fragmented ecosystem, like all of these things working in silo. What I want to see is that one of the key components of Web3 capability is interoperability. And right now, whether it's loyalty, whether it's commerce, I think the upgrade is coming. Just to give you two examples, one is payment and one is CRM. Most of the brands we work with, they use a tech stack like Salesforce. And when we arrived, most of these things did not connect to Salesforce. So you launch a digital collectible, and then you go ask your brand, how does it run with your CRM, your Salesforce stack? And they say, we haven't connected it yet. So this is one of the work we're doing. We have a partnership with Salesforce. We're connecting this digital collectible ecosystem, the people that have collected this thing, to the actual ecosystem of Salesforce. What does it mean? It means that you can address them more smoothly, and you can provide them more easily with value proposition, whether it's messaging, offers, and commerce. And if we keep on the commerce part, the same thing happened with payment. I'll give you an example. The 2021, 2022 era, when you wanted to do payment, generally you do it on a side website. So it's a kind of a shadow IT you build for this. And you need to accept Bitcoin, ETH. You need to have it on your balance sheet. You need to convince the CFO of your organization that it's okay to have Bitcoin, to have ETH, and that it's not a risk. So imagine you have a product that is worth $500 today, you collect it in Bitcoin, and then the next day it's 10% less, and you didn't sold it. So it's basically your margin is gone. So right now, in 2025, you have payment actor, Stripe, Crypto.com we work with. They settle in real time in fiat, meaning that if you sell a product $500 or euro, this is more or less what you're collecting. So your CFO is happy. What he's seeing is yen, dollar, euro, not Bitcoin that he doesn't know day by day how much it's worth, basically.
I really like that. We're coming towards the end, so I just want to come back to each of you with one very quick thing, and apologies to push you for time. But I'm interested to know from each of you the thing that you are most excited about this market opportunity over the next 12 to 24 months. What's the things that we should be looking out for? What's the kind of tipping point? Romain, anything spring to mind for you when you look forward in the next year and you think this is going to make a difference?
I think when we're going to see all the products with the digital passports, this will change also the shift in the mind, what you expect from the customer when you buy a product. So before I buy a product, what information can I get? And then once I have the product, so post-purchase, what can I do with it? And the value the customer can get from the information put on the blockchain, on the certification, on the transfer of ownership, all the customer experience that he can get. I'm really excited to see all those products on the blockchain with a digital passport.
I like that. Pedro, for you, anything particular that springs to mind in the near future?
I think it's personal portfolios. I mean, if you think with physical goods, if you want to share that with people, they need to come to your place, or you need to be physical. There is a friction out of the physical limitations. With that, with this technology, if we add in the mix of today immersive experiences and virtual spaces, people will be able to share their portfolio fully or partially with people. And I think the important thing is, for me, or the thing I'm most excited about, is that this will become part of your digital identity. It's the same principle as being the owner of a Bored Ape, but multiplied exponentially.
And Franck, for you?
I think the most exciting things for me, it's very the art of fusion about the physical and digital. And I think in the coming few years we'll see new approach, new technology about this. And I'm very curious about the magic about the material itself. And also another thing is a switch of mindset, especially for luxury brands, is to have a kind of bidirectional flow of the value, such as with this kind of co-creation concept.
Thank you. And Riad, last but not least, the final word from you.
Yeah, one other thing we see that is interesting is luxury brand discussing now with Web3 native community and seeing how we can work together on some collaboration. I think we've been hearing that for the last 3-4 years, but now every single piece of tech is ready to make it really seamless and quite efficient. And one metric I have that could be interesting is that we've integrated with a lot of e-commerce websites, and the luxury brand at first saying, yeah, but is it our audience? Are they really interested in a product? What we saw as a statistic, for example, is a visitor that has a wallet will convert generally 2 to 3 times more towards this brand. And if they have, for example, a Bitcoin wallet, can go up to 5 times. So that is something that the luxury brands are really looking, especially with the macroeconomics right now, on trying to see how they can cater the hundreds of billions of dollars in cryptocurrency sitting on all of these wallets.
Well, that's brought us very nicely full circle back to this idea that what we're talking about here is a big growth opportunity for the industry. We are sadly out of time, but thank you all so much for sharing your perspectives with me and with our audience. It was absolutely fascinating. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.